The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
These next 10 games will decide a lot about the New York Jets' future going forward. We'll talk about that and much more with Jets insider Robby Sabo in his weekly spot on the show. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Knicks opening night. If you are a basketball fan, we're presented today by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up using promo code ASMAN and take advantage of what Underdog has for NBA opening night. You could boost every Underdog entry by 20%. Unlimited 20% profit boost tokens on NBA-only entries through October 27th. So for the next couple of days, use promo code ASMAN and download the Underdog app and get your picks in. Knicks season is here, and I can't wait to watch Jalen Brunson and company tonight against the Celtics. Joining us right now in his weekly spot on the show is the co-founder of JetsXFactor.com and the JetX mobile app. Robby Sabo joins the show. Hello, Robby.
Jake, I remember once upon a time, it's happened before a few times, but as a kid, it sticks in my mind. 93, 94 season, I think they opened in Boston, the Knicks. So, good signs maybe to come this year. We'll see.
They certainly have a chance. This is certainly a team that could actually win it all. So we will see. The team we talk about for a living and you cover for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Tough to picture them winning it all right now. 2-5, couple days removed from the debacle in Pittsburgh on Sunday night. What's your general feel about where this team is at before we dive into some of the bigger long-term decisions they're going to have to make?
It's a unique situation where you hardly see this. They clearly have talent. So front office wise, they clearly have talent. Douglas has done a good job. I don't care if you hate Douglas. Objectively speaking, he's done a really good job in terms of personnel. That doesn't mean he needs to return next year. Okay, let's make that clear. Even though he's done a good job, I think his fatal flaw, his fatal mistake was hiring the wrong leader. And look at the way they played against Pitt. They were tight. Rodgers is still searching for it. He's overthinking, and you've never seen this with Rodgers. Maybe since his rookie year, they are absolutely tight. Every little mistake, they think about every little thing that can go wrong, and then when something goes wrong, they're soft. They can't retaliate. They can't fight back. That boils down to, and that's why Rodgers. I mean, listen, he's not a dummy. He could see it that they're tight. That's why media came in his head during the post game. Narratives have been written about that, but it wasn't exactly what he said. But regardless, he's on the money, whether he was right to say it or not. They're tight, and it boils down to leadership. They need the right head coach. They need the right guy. I mean, look at back Leon Hess. He was doing it his way forever and ever. He finally threw his hands up and said, all right, Parcells, come in, show me how to win. They didn't really increase the talent from 96 to 97, yet Parcells took 1-15 team to 9-7. He did his thing, and it lasted. That culture lasted for another decade after that. I'm not saying it was all Parcells. Herm had a stake, Mangini, Rex, of course, Tannenbaum. But that is what they're sorely missing. That leader can't come from the front office. It has to be on the locker room, field level. And Woody, from Jets fans, the plea to you is to find the right man, to find the right leader, and pretty much get the hell out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, look, to me, when everyone blames ownership, I think sometimes we take it too far. Clearly, it all starts at the top when you own an NFL team. And Woody's record over the last 25 years speaks for itself. But I've said this on the show. In fact, I even put out a tweet this morning. I'm a Knicks fan. Just talked about it at the top of the show. I don't think James Dolan is a good owner. I think his resume and the things he has done speak for itself, much like Woody Johnson. However, the Knicks now are viewed as a model franchise in the NBA, a franchise you want to copy to get out of the abyss where the Knicks were for so long. The Knicks were a bigger joke than the Jets have been since Dolan has owned the team. I mean, you keep going and going through all the different things that happened, Phil Jackson, etc. But James Dolan finally got the right people leading his team. He hired Leon Rose, who hired the right head coach, and Tom Thibodeau, and now the Knicks are a championship contender. Woody, to me, has always been willing to spend money. They have top-notch facilities. But the problem has been he has not hired the right leadership, and that starts with the GM and obviously the head coach. And until that is in position to have both guys aligned and the right people leading the way, you're going to continue to struggle and not have any sustained success. So obviously the ownership is bad until you win, but this idea they can never win with Woody, I'm not buying it. I think you just got to get the right people in charge. The Lions have had brutal ownership. Their ownership didn't change. They just got the right GM and the right head coach. That's where it all starts.
The term dysfunction and awful ownership and the inner workings, listen, some of that stuff is real, but most of that stuff is overblown. What it comes down to is ownership choosing the right person. That's it. You know, look at Layden, Isaiah Thomas, Dolan. NBA is a superstar league. Everyone says Brunson. Oh, he changed the Knicks. Yeah, I mean, he elevated the Knicks, but remember, it was Thibodeau before Brunson who actually flipped the record on its head. And it started with Thibodeau. He's the right dude to lead them. Leon was obviously the icing on the cake. So Dolan found the right two guys. Woody has to find the right leader. And Douglas, too. If Douglas is going to stick around, he has to be a part of that as well. And I think he's got to be kicking himself for what's transpired and what they've, put their trust in. And I think clearly the play on the field. And listen, I've been encouraged by some of the game planning stuff. As opposed to starting off terrible in terms of game planning and then trying to catch up and playing better in-game adjustments, it went the other way this past weekend with Pittsburgh, where they came out with pretty good game planning ideas. Force Russ over the top, make the rusty quarterback beat them. They came up with miraculous catches, which, as a DC, you want that every day. I mean, if teams are going to do that against you, you tip your cap and move on. That is a very tough play to execute, and they force them into the right mode. And sometimes you just have to tip your cap. But they're tight. They are tight. They're waiting for the shoe to drop, and that comes down to leadership.
I think they need to just come together this week, recognize that despite how bad it's been, at 2-5, it feels bleak, but it's not over. You could win on Sunday, calm everything down, and then I think it's almost good that they play right away, right? Don't think about it. Don't have too much time to be like, take a breath, we're back. No. Go play right away and put forth an effort against a Texans team that's good, but is beatable. Their offensive line right now having a lot of issues down in Houston. Trust me, I was there for 6 years. I still follow the team. I think it is possible for them to rectify things and at least give us some hope, but no one wants to hear that right now. They got to clean it up, win on Sunday first, and go from there because that's really it because there's still 10 games left right now. So to do who's the next coach going to be? Who's the next GM going to be? What happens with the quarterback? It's impossible to really gauge what's going to look different when we just don't know how the next 10 games are going to go. If this team obviously wins 5 or 6 games, I think everyone's gone. But if this team is able to rally here and say they win 8 or 9 games, maybe that gets you in the playoffs. Maybe it doesn't. I think the perception on where they go is different. If they go 9-8 and miss the playoffs, maybe Douglas is back and he hires the coach, for example. I'm not necessarily advocating for that right now, but I just think when you talk about the state of this franchise right now, so much of it is uncertain. So much of it is up in the air, and it has so much to do now with these next 10 games.
Well said. And it is a week-to-week league. Every minute, every game is so precious to these guys. You start there, moment by moment. I think Rodgers needs to look in the mirror and realize that some of his on-field emotional cues matter. I know it's tough at times, but he's gotta do the right thing. He's got to try to do the right thing in that regard, number one. And number two, the offseason talk, dude. The NFL offseason takes forever. Do we not have enough time already to talk about that? It's still October. I mean, God, quitters they drive me up a wall in terms of negative emotion. And I get it. Criticism is warranted. I mean, you have to criticize, but you have to objectively criticize without, crawling up into the fetal position, just like a It just makes me want to puke, honestly. If you did that the last time they won the division, they wouldn't have won the division 2-5 Herm in 2002. So, you know, buck up and get to work. That's it.
100%. And look, the season is not over till it's over. I don't expect this team to make the playoffs, but the mentality in that room's got to be, look, we're 2-5, but last year Green Bay was 2-5 and they made the playoffs. The year before there was a team that was 2-5 that made the playoffs. In fact, the last 4 seasons, a 2-5 team has made the playoffs. And what benefits the Jets is just how weak the bottom of the conference is right now. That, you watched last night. I don't think the Cardinals are particularly good. You see how the Chargers basically beat themselves? Like, that's one of the teams you're competing with for one of those last spots. Like, there's going to be a very flawed team that makes the playoffs. So the mentality's got to be, you got to find a way to just win a game and go from there. But even if they don't make the playoffs, Robbie, there's a major difference between 6 or 7 wins and 8 or 9 wins, right? For the future of this GM in particular. Because I really think they're likely going to have a new head coach. I don't see Ulbrich being here beyond this year personally. But Joe Douglas, I think, is going to be heavily debated. On one hand, you could argue he's done enough where, look, he got Salo wrong, he got Zach Wilson wrong, but look at this team, right? Look at this team. On the other hand, you could say, well, he's 29-61 as a GM. He messed up some huge decisions. Does he really get another head coaching hire? So I see both sides of it. That's why I think these next 10 games, they could decide Joe Douglas's fate, because ultimately, if this team finishes with just 6 or 7 wins, I don't know how you could justify bringing back this GM for what would be now a 7th season, 6 full off season with a draft and free agency, and a second head coach he gets to hire, and really a 4th coach overall because he got here with Gase, and now he has Ulbrich. So I just don't know if you could justify that.
Yeah, it's, listen, I think Douglas could go either way. There's no question about it. But let's compartmentalize. Let's throw that out the window. I think his fatal flaw was the head coach getting that wrong. Personnel-wise, it's been solid. It's been, especially after a decade of futility. I mean, you look around, everyone says Zach Wilson. You can't miss on a quarterback. It'll set your franchise back. Nonsense. That's the old NFL. The new NFL, the reason the quarterbacks skyrocket in the first round is because they are lottery tickets, and GMs and teams go into it knowing, hey, odds are it won't work out, but it's not going to kill us because of the salary, because of the way everything's set up. I mean, Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett, was that a home run just a couple years ago? No. Trey Lance. There are examples on every team in terms of quarterbacks. And you look at the draft, the bust rates. Go ahead and look at the Steelers' draft results year by year, the last 5 years. Tell me it's better than the Jets. Honestly, Chiefs.
Just go look at the roster overall. Like, that's what's so frustrating, though, to your point, just looking at this season, Robbie. Like, we've seen bad Jets teams before. But this team being 2-5 with this talent, and maybe we overrated some of it. Certainly, I don't think any of us anticipated.
Some spot, like the D line, I think was I know they're missing guys, but I think the D line, the front seven, the rush defense has always been bad under Saleh. Well, and I think the momentum, the conservative flow in the Saleh era helps the defense. It masks the defense so much more. Pass coverage, not overrated. I mean, they are arguably the best pass coverage in the league when they have their guys.
I was going to even just bring up, like, they signed Tyron Smith. We all thought it was a home run move. He looked shot. Like, no one could have anticipated that. You watched the film on this guy last year. It's not like he was, like, just name only. This guy was a second-team All-Pro.
No, he was solid. Yeah, he was good last year.
Yeah, the concern with him was, well, he only played 13 games. We know he's going to get hurt at some point. Now he's actually playing, and he stinks. He's like Mekhi Becton, but worse. Same number and everything. So, like, that's the problem. Right? Like, we overrated maybe some of the talent. We didn't expect Greg Zuerlein to be the worst kicker in the league, and they got to get rid of him today, Robbie. Today's the off day for the Jets. They'll have, this is when you do tryouts in the NFL.
Is there any news? Is there any news on anything today? They're bringing in guys?
Nothing yet, but I'd imagine they're going to have to sign someone. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And you know what? I think Zuerlein thrives when guys are lingering. I mean, he was great when Seibert was on the practice squad for years. And as soon as they get rid of him. Yeah.
He wasn't great last week when they brought in guys to try out. He still had a kick blocked.
True.
He might be washed. I don't think it's like a mental thing. Maybe it is a mental thing at this point, but like, he just might be washed. I don't know.
He could be. And the other thing is this. Every angle that we talk about, again, it boils down to leadership. The Jets, mistakes happen in football. That you expect that as a coach. Mistakes are going to happen. It's a game of mistakes. But when the Jets make a mistake, it's a demoralizing mistake. Garrett Wilson.
And also, they're made of glass. That's my biggest issue. They're soft. Like, Rodgers throws that pick, brutal interception, can't have it. He acknowledged it. He's got to play better. But that shouldn't be the thing that allows you to just completely spiral. They were up 15-6 when that happened. That shouldn't be, the mechanism for Detroit to then go out there, shut you out, or Pittsburgh to go out there, shut you out in the entire second half and put up, 31 unanswered points on you? That's insane.
Yeah, I watched the film on that play, the first Rodgers pick, and Garrett ran the right route. Rodgers went the right way. It was a Tampa 2. Garrett was going to the right spot, and it was the right read by Rodgers, but he's tight. He double pumped it. He double clutched it. He was looking at the linebacker's eyes, and the eyes were on him. And usually in Tampa 2, that middle linebacker has to get deep, turn his back eventually to play like a deep middle third almost. And Rodgers was waiting for the linebacker to turn his head, so his eyes weren't on him. Never really did. I mean, he did to spin and then pick it off with a great play, but he never really did. And he's just tight. You never see Rodgers tight, and it's just, again, they need a leader. They need the guy to galvanize everyone and be that leader for this football team.
Give me some names. I know we got a long way to go, and hopefully Ulbrich turns it around and he's the guy, yada, yada, yada. But give me some names of some head coaching candidates that you would like for this team.
Variable.
I agree.
Variable's 1A, 1A, 1A. Obviously, the OC from Detroit. I'd be very interested in him, but I don't think they'd have a chance at him. So I think those are the only two. At this point in October, I'm not going to go with a long list. I'm only going to go with one or two, and those would be my two, Vrabel and Johnson.
I'll give you another name. Kevin Stefanski, if the Browns unravel and they fire him.
Stefanski's a good coach.
I think he's won Coach of the Year twice.
That's a good one. I'll expand my list to three. Stefanski, absolutely. Ben Johnson, Stefanski, but Vrabel still number one choice.
What are your thoughts on Rex? Joe B wants Rex
back.
Back.
Joe. I love your Joe, but oh my goodness.
I love Rex. He just hasn't coached in 10 years. I think that'd be a mistake just to throw him out there as the head coach, like it's Billy Martin and the Yankees.
Hey, listen. Like Saleh had some just like Saleh, he had some positive traits. I'll always be fair. I just think he didn't have the strategy bones. Rex has some really positive traits. He gets guys to run through the wall for him. He's a great defensive mind. He has some positive traits. But do we not remember this downswing for the Jets started with Rex? He took one of the most talented teams the Jets ever had in their history, the Mangini-Tannenbaum nucleus, did great things with it the first 2 years, AFC title games. And then each year that went by, it kept on declining until the personnel was gone, just evaporated. Yeah, Idzik didn't help, but he still had Tannenbaum there for the first 4 years. So let's not pretend Idzik was the entire reason. It's not. Then he goes to Buffalo, and the game had passed him by. You can't send. I mean, we all talk about Flores and Denver, and they blitz a lot. They blitz a lot. They lead the league in blitzing, yet it doesn't even come close to the way Rex plays defense. So it is just the most mind-boggling suggestion to go with Rex, and even worse, to go with Rex and Mikey T. Sorry.
Well, the thing is with Rex, he obviously inherited a great team and he can coach. It was when it came time to make decisions on players who were aged out or were free agents or they were trying to get over the top that
terrible.
Basically, Rex had a lot of influence over what Tannenbaum would do. And Tannenbaum deferred to Rex just like he deferred to Mangini. And Rex was the reason why Quentin Coples was drafted, for example. Rex was the reason why Kyle Wilson was picked. People want to blame Tannenbaum for this stuff. Rex had as much say as any head coach in the league over personnel. This is true. We all know this. So I love Rex. He's obviously, or was obviously, a phenomenal coach, but he hasn't coached the Jets since 2014. I don't think you could bring him back. I don't think that makes sense.
It doesn't. It makes zero sense in the world. And, I don't fault Joe B or anyone for longing for those nostalgic days. I get it. But practically speaking, there's just no way. Like, come on. Buffalo, he failed spectacularly. Like, come on. I mean, how was he, 2 years there, or was it 3? I think it was 2.
He didn't even make it through 2. He got fired like two with 2 games or 1 game to go in 2016, that last season there.
Yeah, it's an absurdity, honestly. And I get it, and your point is very true. The more he got involved in personnel, the worse it got.
Yeah, and they won with Mangini's players. Mangini always should have been a GM. He had an eye for talent.
Mangini was great in terms of personnel, tremendous.
By the way, just real quick, and then you can expand on this. Even Mangini, who was very good at identifying players, still identified Vernon Golston as someone the Jets had to have. So
Correct.
even really good GMs like Joe Douglas has obviously had his mistakes. They still picked the wrong players too. Howie Roseman, who I think is very good,
Correct.
he took Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. Like, enough said.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, if you're wondering about Douglas in terms of just personnel, and GM is a lot more than personnel, it's so much more, and that's the areas Douglas has to improve. But just personnel, draft, and Douglas is a personnel guy. He's just, I mean, he's really up there. Go into Google and type in Steelers year by year draft results and look at the names. Chiefs year by year draft results and compare it to the Jets. I'm telling you, it's gonna boggle your mind. But yeah, they need the leadership. Coaching in football, there isn't a sport on earth that could come close to how important that is.
What's your gut tell you? Brand new coach and GM and quarterback next year? One of the three, two of the three? What's your gut tell you where this is headed?
My gut is, if it goes completely south and it becomes a disaster, I think Douglas is gone. I think if they, show fight and do some good things, I think Douglas is back, because I was with you. I thought Douglas was more secure than people thought, especially after the Saleh firing. It felt he was insulated by Woody a little bit. Same thing with Rodgers. So I think, and Woody's quote, this is the most talented team we've had in history. I don't know if it's true. I mean, those Mangini Tannenbaum teams might have been more talented, in my opinion, but because they had the toughness, they had the grit. But again, it was a different world. It was a different NFL. You could still win, and that's the other thing with Rex. It's not a physical NFL anymore, and he's all about physicality. It's about out scheming the opponent. But yeah, gut only if it's a complete disaster. I think will Douglas be back, or will Douglas be gone? I think Douglas will be back as long as they show some fight and finish near 500.
So you think Rodgers is back too? Then
yes. I mean, if it's only way Rodgers is not back, I think, and this is my gut, I have no information, is if they go completely south and it becomes an outright disaster. I mean, folks, right now, it's not even close to a disaster compared to what it could be. Remember that. It's not even close. It could get so much worse.
We haven't hit rock bottom yet, Jet fans. It could get even worse.
I'm not saying it will, but it can get so much worse. We have short memories, man. Back in the Idzik days and before that. So Rodgers, he's no dummy. He's tight. He's not playing well, but he's no dummy. I think he understands the chemistry angle. I think he was wrong about Saleh, but I think he understands the chemistry angle, and I think that's why he committed out front more than 1 year. I really do. And I think he's in it for the long haul because he's dug in now and he's really, really angry and he can't go out this way.
I mean, of the 2-5 teams, I think the Jets are actually in the best situation of any of these teams right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of the Tennessee's 1-5. The other 1-6 teams are Cleveland and New England. I mean,
What's Cincy? Is Cincy 2-5?
Cincy's 3-4 now.
3-4. Okay.
Yep. So look, the Jets put themselves in a hole, but as you can see here, I mean, the teams that they're chasing are right there. I have to update the standings here because LA lost last night, so they're 3-3 on the season. But that's the blessing, if you will, of like how bad the Jets have been. They're not actually out of it, despite how it feels. Like 7-3 with this schedule, you actually probably could get in with 9, depending on who the wins are against. So it's still possible, but I could definitely see 9-8 miss the playoffs, and we lament these brutal losses they had, and I'm just telling you, it'll be the most painful, so Jets thing to happen. But
yeah,
it's kind of crazy. But I do think they got to win games. Otherwise, I think they could clean house. And I would lean with Rodgers if I had to guess being here next year. But I do think no matter what happens, they should draft the quarterback in the first round and allow that guy to sit. The last time this team had any sustained success at the quarterback spot, Chad Pennington sat behind Vinny Testaverde for 3 years. Yeah. Have this guy sit behind Rodgers for at least a year. That's what I would do.
And by the way, and I'm with you. If you like a quarterback, I hate how these GMs pretend that these quarterbacks are I mean, not pretend. It's true. They're lottery picks. But I hate how they get pushed up in the draft when they had no business doing so. But that's the way it works because of the way the salary is slotted. It's a low risk proposition. So as long as they like a guy, a quarterback in the top 10, if they're picking there, yeah, go for it. Absolutely. But Pennington. Listen, we're not going to confuse Pennington with Rodgers in terms of all-time greats, but do you remember Pennington when he first came as a rookie? On the sideline, waving the towel, positive vibes.
They won. When Chad was healthy, they won. It was very simple.
Dude, he oozed everything you wanted in terms of what you want to see from Rodgers now. The frustration, I think Rodgers, if he's really a self-starter and he could self-coach himself and really self-assess, turn on some Pennington games of 2002, 2003 and see how he acted. Because if Rodgers could get that down, it's going to be a really nice blessing for the entire team and the entire vibe around him.
They just need more energy, man. I mean, it's an alarming quote when Rodgers says it felt like the energy, and it starts with me, the energy for whatever reason at halftime was flat. Like, look, where's the leadership on this team, man? Where's CJ Mosley? Where's Quinnen? Where are these guys, man? Where's Garrett Wilson? I'll tell you what, I think Devontae will help in that area. What impressed me, and look, people probably don't want to hear this because we're all just trying to be negative today and we're all down in the dumps.
Yep.
Devontae hustling to stop that pick six at the 1 yard line. That showed me something, man. Like,
Gotta
that
have
was on film review this week. That's going to be highlighted by the coaches, man. Like that's not nothing for a guy of his stature to do that. People will notice that.
Yeah, gotta love it. I mean, and I think I tweeted it in time on Twitter, and the classic responses, "Go kill yourself." Blah, blah. But still, like you gotta have that stuff. That stuff is so important, and I'm waiting for Rodgers to get in the mix in that regard. I know he doesn't have the physicality in terms of running and doing all that stuff, but they're searching for a moment. They're searching for something where they could breathe. They're all not breathing. It's so apparent. And Ulbrich, yeah, strategy is still number one. They got to game plan the right way, but he's got to carve out a space to try to get these guys in the right headspace. And how you do that, it's up to them because I'm not in the room. I have no idea.
I love this comment here from Rick Kent. Not a super chat, but so funny. We got to read it. Devontae's a better tackler than Sauce.
Dude, listen, we're not going to confuse Sauce with Rod Woodson during his early days at corner.
Or
but
Darrell Revis, by the way.
Revis was a thumper, man. Like he was such a thumper that I think I put out an article for my old site ESNY. I thought he was going to be a tremendous safety in the twilight of his career. I thought he was going to move to safety, be one of the next great safeties, but unfortunately, his career was just cut a little bit too short.
He didn't want to do it either. His ego was, I'm a corner.
Probably.
I'm a corner.
Yeah, that's probably true. And listen, talent, overrating or underrating, DBs, I don't think so. I mean, and the DB coaching is tremendous. I know the DPIs have been a little brutal. Without Michael Carter and Reed, that's tough. They got to have them back. Not overrated at DB, D-line, absolutely. I know they lost a lot of guys, but the scheme is the other part we haven't talked about. The scheme is outdated. And I've seen some things with Leaky back where Ulbrich is trying to get away from the scheme, but it's very difficult to do in season. You're going to give up some stuff, trying to get used to something different where you could be more conservative. Instead of attacking gaps on every play, I see Leaky lining up in zero tech natural nose guard position right over the center. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, I haven't seen this in the Salah era. Like, what's going on here? So I see the effort in terms of trying to be more multiple and versatile. It's just going to take some time.
If you're watching this live right now, click the like button, help the YouTube algorithm show this video to more Jet fans. And of course, if you're one of the people that's tuned in, we have almost 800 people in here live right now, and you're not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. We're approaching 40,000 subscribers. So I want to thank this community. Win or lose, you guys are here, and I truly appreciate it. Now, Robby, you and I have been friends for a long time. I'm a diehard reader and subscriber of JetX, jetsxfactor.com. So it was about time that I had my own promo code so other people could take full advantage. Promo code Asman will get you a JetX membership for 99 cents for the first month. Tell the audience about that.
Yes, sir. Two options, monthly and yearly, 99 cents with promo code Asman. I think it's discount code Asman on the site, actually. Or the yearly, which is 29 for the entire year. So really good stuff. There's film up right now. Andrew Fialco, some analytics from Nania, Rivka.
He's joining us today, by the way, Fialco at 4 o'clock.
Nice. Break down that film. But yeah, all the goods. I'm telling you, it's everyone who signs up. They love it. Like the feedback can't be good enough. It's tremendous. Very few cancellations. And listen, by the way, if you're struggling to afford it or you can't fit it in your budget, just shoot me an email. We can work something out. We want to get people involved as much as possible, and it's not about the money for us. So check it out, and if you want to jump aboard and you're having a problem, just shoot me an email.
Yeah, subscribe, guys. Support Robby. I mean, everyone complains about the Jets beat. Well, here's a guy who's there all the time. Him and his team do a great job objectively covering this team without a bias and just
Yeah.
giving you information that true Jet fans care about. So if you don't like the Jet beat, you don't like the national coverage or the local coverage of the Jets, support a website like jetsxfactor.com. That's why we bring them on the show, because I want to bring people on who actually can connect with this fan base, not just be negative or hot takey for the sake of trying to get clicks and views. All right. Super chats will cut the line. Bang Mateo's first up. He writes in, Salah built this soft culture. The residual remain. Yeah, I mean, it's still his staff. I did think, though, Ulbrich would provide more of a spark than what we've seen so far. I thought it'd be a little different. Maybe Salah kind of being ripped out of that locker room had more of a negative impact than we thought. I guess that's possible. I still don't disagree with the move. I was okay with it. I was not saying they got to do it. I thought he would get the Buffalo game, but I don't know if Robert Saleh was the head coach these last couple of games, Robbie. They would have won the Bills game or the Steelers game.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of silly to say, oh, I don't think Robert Saleh was the problem now, because I kind of view it the other way. Like if they're winning after Saleh's gone, that means Saleh's culture and program is working. Like, you can't flip things on its head so close or so quickly. Ulbrich is Saleh. He hasn't had enough time to establish his own thing yet. So losing just establishes to me that they were on the wrong track. Yes, do you expect a little bit of a spark? Sure. But the changes I see, especially with Downing, are
that's
positive.
The real change. I mean, that's really the real change,
That's the real change. And I'm seeing positive game planning changes from the start. And that was the first thing I wanted to see. But now that they got that and they're really game planning more to the opponent, having the balls to stand up and overcome whatever comes your way in the game is the next step.
More super chats coming in from the people. KJH says, are Greg DeLeg and Tyron replaced this week? Both should be replaced if accountability is really a thing. So we talked about Greg DeLeg earlier, so let's talk about Tyron Smith now. Yeah. This would be the week I'd give Olu Fashanu a chance at left tackle. The Patriots are not a great team. Get them warmed up because you're going to need them against Houston, because Houston has Will Anderson Jr. They have Danielle Hunter. I want Olu out there protecting Aaron Rodgers on a short week in that game that basically could decide your season, right? I mean, you really got to win these next two to get back on the right path. They're two AFC teams. Like to me, got to play your best. And I think Olu at this point is deserving of playing over Tyron. They gave him the benefit of the doubt. He just looks like he's washed. I can't believe how quick it happened. I'm shocked by it, but I think you got to try it.
I'm torn. I got to be honest. I'm torn on this. I don't disagree with you, by the way. And if they make that move, I'll applaud Ulbrich for, attempting to do the right thing. But because it is Tyron, I am torn. I must admit. I have hope holding out that he can be fine and he can find it. And then he's just part of the group that's really tight and pressing. But hey, there's no way I could argue with that. Going in that direction, good for you guys if you guys do that.
And I just feel like you got to try and spark this team, you know?
Yeah. Moses played well too. Moses played great. I mean, so
he really did. It's a shame. Like, that's what made this game. A lot of things made this game incredibly frustrating.
The O-line was pretty good, man. Pass protecting.
They couldn't run block, but Morgan Moses had a really good game. TJ Watt didn't wreck this game. Yes, the Jet defense, obviously, they did not play well in that second half. And I think a lot of it had to do with, the sudden turnovers. A lot of it had to do with the injuries. We can't ignore the fact that we're down basically every notable player in their secondary besides Sauce. But, I mean, you got to get more than 15 points, man. And that's on Rodgers. That's on Garrett. That's on all these guys that are supposed to be able to deliver. And Rodgers looks a little gun shy right now watching some of the film. We'll go over it with Fialco at 4. He wasn't perfect, but then, they also got to help him. Like, Garrett Wilson, he can't drop that, man. That changes the entire complexion of the game.
Yep. It did get deflected, but listen, if you're waiting for it to come down to your chest, that's why they teach hand catching at the youth, because if you have your hands out in front near your eyes, near your head, it's not going to deflect like that. So that's why they teach it. It's the fundamentals. And sometimes they're too fast and loose most of the time, they're too fast and loose with the fundamentals. I mean, demoralizing plays, that Garrett Wilson drop, that Rodgers pick, the Zerline block field goal, he kind of drived it on that one. It just can't happen. And worst of all, I thought the worst of all, right after the field goal block, 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9, deep in their own territory. Steelers go back to pass. Forgot if it was play action, but they go back to pass, dump it off to the running back. Here comes 2 Jets over pursuing, flying like missiles. One of them's Quincy, and they over pursue worse than any defenders I have seen in football in a long time. Know the situation. It's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. Break down. You could give up 2 or 3, 4 yards there and then force a 4th down. But Quincy's going for the kill shot, and he over pursues. I mean, demoralizing. Just awful, awful plays. You can't have it. Mistakes happen, but you can't be selfish. You can't be selfish, and you have to play for the guy next to you.
Gary writes in, the love affair for 29 and 61 Joey is a mental illness. All right. Thank you, Gary. Bang Mateo writes in, Robby, talent and being good are 2 different things. Obviously,
sure.
Robby talked about the leadership void on this team that starts with the head coach.
For
Fight
sure.
or flight, Eric says, Woody unceremoniously, that's a big word, firing Salah must have killed the locker room. This team fought for him through adversity multiple times. Look, I guess that is fair to say, but this team, I think, does believe in Coach Ulbrich and fight for him too. I just don't think a lot of these issues we're seeing are correctable at times, man. I like, Garrett Wilson dropping that pass is not on, the locker room being down because Salah got fired. Aaron Rodgers not seeing a guy open over the middle or being gun shy to let it rip is not because Robert Saleh got fired. Tyron Smith being washed is not because Robert Saleh got fired.
Yeah.
Like, we can keep going. You get the point. Like, I think we're overrating that a little bit.
Yes, I do too, because how many times have they really fought for him in his era? I mean, the high point of the Douglas era was what? When they were 5-2. They beat Green Bay, or they might have gone to 4-2 at that point when they beat Green Bay, but whatever, that year. That was when everything looked rosy and like, okay, they've arrived earlier than we thought. They're wearing the cheese heads, Sauce and Garrett, and they're doing their thing in Lambeau. Rodgers is on the other side.
They were 6-3. Remember, they were 6-3 into the bye because they beat Buffalo after that debacle first game against New England.
And the
Zach
Denver
Wilson
injuries.
Pick. Yep.
Yeah. Once the Denver injuries happened, that's when they went to 5-2. But when have they really fought through him other than that? I mean, the Philly game last year, Philly was terrible. We didn't realize it yet. The problem with the Salah regime is they play winning or losing is largely dependent on the opposition, what they do. And that's a problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, we were waiting for someone to come through for the people. 5 channel memberships have just been gifted by Party with Peg and Artie.
Let's not drop the challenge flag.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you hear your name called, you are officially an Asmaniac. OG Jet Fan Jim, Merklo26, Wild Wave, and Bethpage Chris. Oh, wait, one more. Anthony Kubinski. Congratulations all. Hey, Bethpage Chris, I better be seeing you at T-Squared Social on Sunday for our watch party. Come on, people. Let's commiserate together. We'll watch the Jets and the Patriots.
Misery loves company. Come on now. Like, Jake has a soft shoulder to lean on. Just know that when you're going.
That is true. That is true. RSVP with the link in the description if you haven't already. All right, some more super chats here for Robby. This one is from Rick Kent, who says Vrabel was the one who had Keith Carter on his staff. No Vrabel. I don't know if that's a disqualifier for Mike Vrabel. I mean, Mike Vrabel's proven he's a pretty good coach in this league. He went to an AFC championship game with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback.
And by the way, the Jets O-line isn't playing terrible. Okay, pass pro's been good, but are we certain the run blocking is that bad? Or are there differences between Braylon and Breece in terms of hitting the hole hard?
What are you seeing on film?
If I were the Jets, I would flip it and put Braylon as the workhorse back. It doesn't mean Breece isn't going to play. He's going to play, but he's going to be more of the third down change of pace guy while also lining up in interesting spots as receiver. I mean, when they go empty, Rodgers loves the empty 3-by-2 look where it's still 11 personnel. You got 3 receivers, a running back, a tight end. Breece is out there every time, and you could run that a lot. So Braylon has to get more opportunities because he hits the hole with no nonsense. And you watch these other teams, these other games. Okay, I say physicality is not that big a part of the NFL anymore. It will always be a big part. It just, in comparison to yesteryear, it's not. Yet your running back has to be physical. He has to get 3-4 yards sometimes when you can only get 1. He has to get 5 instead of 3. And Braylon does that. So if I'm Ulbrich, I think that's the balls to the wall change he has to make immediately.
Phil writes in, Ulbrich still talks to Salah every day. That needs to stop. He should pass on play calling to Manuel or White Cotton. Too much for an interim. Where is this coming from, by the way, that Ulbrich still talks to Salah daily? Did I miss
for
that?
real. I do. I mean, it's news to me, to be honest.
I mean, they're good friends. I don't know if he's like, Salah, what should I do here? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Listen, I don't think changing the coach again really matters much. I think you give Ulbrich a chance. And
they said it during the broadcast, apparently. I must have missed that.
Who said it on the broadcast?
I guess NBC.
Well, I mean, listen, it's I wouldn't I wouldn't believe everything you hear, honestly. Was it Collinsworth? Was it someone else?
It was Collinsworth.
You could talk to anyone. It doesn't really matter. It matters what he does, what he does in the job and how he leads. And I think you got to give him a chance.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. I really don't. But as far as the play calling delegation, I wouldn't have a problem with that if he gave up play calling to someone else on the staff if it is too much. I don't know if that's why the defense has struggled the last 2 games. I mean, they settled down in the second half against Buffalo. You know, Buffalo's really good. And then obviously against Pittsburgh, I mean, they completely unraveled in the second half, but they played well in the first half. And the turnovers set up 2 touchdowns of the 37 points. And then they were just destroyed by injuries. I mean, by the end of that game, they were down their second corner, their third corner, both starting safeties, the primary backup at the strong safety spot. I mean, it was it was untenable by the second half of that game.
Yeah, you know, they returned to form. They returned to injury form in Pitt, and it's unfortunate. And it's also unfortunate that the game plan, although I loved the game plan in terms of who the Steelers are, what they were throwing out there with Russell, it'd be very aggressive, stop the run first, dare Russ to go over the top with his moon balls. I like that. But unfortunately, it just didn't match up with the personnel, with the injuries. You'd usually want to do that when Reed is out there, Carter's healthy, Adams is healthy, all that stuff. Unfortunately, they just weren't.
Philly Noodles, only 2 wins we have. Allen had 10-plus touches. Shake my head. I mean, they got to get the running game going, man. They have to run the ball better. And Rodgers throwing this many times, it's not sustainable. He talked about it after the game. He's like, we got to get the action pass going. You want to use play action, get a running game going.
He hits the hole hard. And if it's not getting going and it's not working on early downs, they start doing those faux play actions where it's just a lazy play action for the sake of it. They're not really carrying it out and it doesn't do anything. And there was a play Fialco will go over later this afternoon. We were talking about it yesterday, me and him, in the red zone where Rodgers could have probably hit Devontae on a seam to the left. Pitt started too high, drove one safety down on that side, on Devontae's side. It was a cover 3. And the reason why I didn't think he hit him is because they were doing that faux play action. And when you do the faux play action, as a quarterback, your back's going to be to the defense initially, and you're going to have less time to scan the field. And he could have had Devontae put it on the outside shoulder, but you have to do it quick in that spot because Minkah was trying to set him up sandlot-wise, trying to, dare him to throw it there so he could pick it off. Needed a little touch to get over the linebacker too because the linebacker was right in the lane. But again, the faux play action. If there wasn't the play action, I think he would have got it done and would have had time to do it.
Jesus Jerry with a super chat. 3 fluky Pitt catches, 2 peachy interceptions, Gilmore and Johnston in previous weeks. Fine margin. Opposition takes their chances. We don't. Plain and simple. I mean, these teams have made plays in critical spots, and the Jets haven't. That's what good teams do.
Generally speaking, you're 100% right. In the Salah era, they don't push the ball, even if the defense is forcing them to push the ball. You know, like a Denver, Minnesota type defense, they never took shots deep. Zach Wilson, I think he was a little frightened to do so. Salah just didn't want to turn the ball over. Pitt is a different story. The way they play D, they're very conservative. They lay back. So what happened? What worked in the first half? Dump offs to Brees, things short, everything underneath. So generally speaking, that comment is true, but I just don't think it applied to Pitt the way they play.
Bang Mateo back for more. Rabel is another jock who relies on coordinators. We need a head coach that is talent and is the mind and won't get exposed when coordinators leave. I don't know about that. Mike Vrabel, I think, is a pretty good coach.
I think Vrabel could coach. And
who was a stud OC in Tennessee when they went to the AFC title game?
Yeah, and
LaFleur was gone already when that happened. He was there for 1 year.
Right. And you want a good example of Vrabel as a head coach? I forget which year it was, but against Baltimore, I think it was the divisional. Was it the wild card or the divisional? I forget. But a few years ago, might have been Lamar's second playoff year. I can't remember. He had a game plan to shut down, and who the DC was, I should call out, but I can't remember who it was. They had a game plan to shut down Lamar that worked masterfully in terms of rushing the passer responsibly.
Dean Pease.
It was Pease. Okay.
You want to know who the OC was? Arthur Smith.
Yes, that makes sense. And their game plan, it was beyond impressive. I remember tweeting about it, and it was exactly what I would have done, to be honest. And they shut him down. I think Vrabel is a hell of a coach.
Look, I'm not saying he's, Vince Lombardi, but I mean, to me, I look at it like this. If they're going to hire a new coach, they have two options, in my opinion. Someone who's done it at a high level, is experienced, or an offensive guy if they're going to try the first-time head coaching route from one of these coordinators. I'm tired of the defensive coordinator, first-time coach. This team has not hired any offensive coaches in the last 25-something years besides Adam Gase. That doesn't count.
And he was a former head coach too, which is even more
who failed in your own division and they hired him. It's a joke.
Ben Johnson, man, who it's a good thing to think about. What would Jets fans rather have, Ben Johnson or Vrabel? I think Ben Johnson would win by far. Maybe not by far, but
I'd go with Ben Johnson. I would. I'll take my chance.
It's close for me. In this, the tiebreaker definitely goes to Ben in this regard. That the NFL, it's tailor made for him. I've always said this. Andy Reid was a giant coach laying in wait.
Is that a fat joke?
I'll take credit. For it. But he was a giant coach laying in wait in terms of when he was in Philly. Everyone's like, he's a good coach, but he can't get over the hump. Blah blah blah. He passes too much. Blah blah. The NFL kind of caught up to Reid the way he thinks, as opposed to the opposite, where Reid caught up to the NFL. The way he coached back in the day, even with McNabb and Philly, was perfect for today's modern league. Once the rule changes after Indy and Ty Law, Muggan, Harrison, and Wayne made the NFL make offense go wild. 2008, 2009, it started to really change. And that's why Rex was hanging on for dear life in that older NFL. But Reid fits that league. Reid fits the rules today. Ben Johnson's the same way. I think he's tailor-made for today's NFL.
Tyrone writes in, 10 games, we could do it. I believe. Go Jets. There we go. Some rare positivity this week. Joe the Jet says, draft Drew Aller or Garrett Nussmeier. Joe, I appreciate it. I can't do
it.
Quarterback assessment right now in the draft.
I can't do it either. We're too early, fellas. It's go watch Herm's speech from 2005. Hello. Not only is it like really good in terms of some of the things he says, it's hilarious.
2002.
What did I say? 2005?
Yeah, that was the last 2002.
Yeah.
Jersey Jet. Fans of the next home game should skip player intros. Well, I'll be on the field for player intros with Bobby Midnight, so I can't do that.
Wait, say it again. What happened?
I that's the Asmaniac group buy game, the Texans game next Thursday.
Oh, nice. Bobby Midnight, I haven't talked to him in a while. What's going on with him?
I don't know. He hasn't called the show lately. I think he's boycotting us.
Does he not like me? Bobby, I know you're watching right now. I dearly miss you, and we need to talk.
I agree. You make some great points.
Hit
the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. I want to shout out everyone who supports me via Patreon. Your $5 a month goes a long way towards allowing me to do this for a living. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. I'm dropping a bonus show later today that will be exclusive for the Patreon crew. So check that out. Get Discord access. Your name in the intro. You got a couple days left before we update the list of names for the intro we play before every show. Zach Van Buren, James S., Allison, Jeff, Jay, Alexi. Thank you for being our most recent Patreon subscribers. All right, here we go, folks. Some calls. First up on the Gusbuster hotline is Party with Peg and Artie after they gave us a 5-spot of memberships. Hello, Peg and Artie.
Hey, Jake. How you doing? Robbie, how you doing?
What's up, buddy?
We're in San Juan today. I wanted to let V-Man know. We're on a cruise ship. Got to watch the Jets in that crappy bar with all Steeler fans. Embarrassed as hell. And there's Peg.
Hi, guys.
And
Peggy.
Do we got to gut this team? I mean, what else we could do?
I don't think it's the personnel they necessarily need to gut. I think they need to gut the direction, and they need to find the right leader. Everything changes with coaching. It really does. I mean, I think they need to find the right sideline boss and locker room boss.
I think it starts with coaching too. I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, that's the problem, right? Because this team's got talent, but they don't play like a team. They don't have a mentality of like, hey, something bad happens, next play, let's fix it. Let's not let it spiral.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
and
It's
little
just-
changes that take some cojones. Like, listen, I know you love Brees Hall. I get it. But there's evidence on tape that Braylon hitting the hole harder, no nonsense, will benefit you beyond words on early downs. So little moves like that, you got to make. You really do.
Jordan, do you see us hiring Mike McCarthy if Dallas lets him go?
No.
I do not.
No.
He's not going to get a third chance to be a head coach.
No, I do not. Rodgers McCarthy reunion, I don't see that coming. And if it does, it's oh God.
You think the jokes are bad now after they added Adams about the Jets basically bringing all the Packers to town? They hire Mike McCarthy as the head coach for a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers? You nuts?
Yeah. I mean, jeez, why don't we get Sterling Sharp out of retirement?
At that point, I want John Kuhn at fullback, and I want BJ Raji next to Quinnen next year.
The magic man before Favre. How about that quarterback? Let's get him back. Magikowski. I forget how to pronounce it.
You heard from Peg and Artie there. Great call out of them. They're enjoying their vacation in Puerto Rico. So I know who we need to bring on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's V-Man.
It's time for V-Man to talk about Puerto Rico and his Puerto Rican roots.
Hey, Jake, what's up?
V-Man.
Did you get my message? Did the guy give my message on Sunday?
What was your message on Sunday? I don't know if I saw it.
Well, no, it wasn't anything. I literally walked past T-Squared on my way to work during the game.
Oh, yes. You know what? Someone did. I forget who. One of my listeners tapped me on the shoulder and goes, I just saw V-Man outside.
Yeah, at that point, that was that point in the game. I just could not muster. Like, I was just like done. Like at that point with the game.
It's like,
I can't believe you didn't show up, V-Man. You could have walked in. You would have got a big pop from the crowd. We could have used you.
It's like spotting Bigfoot.
Yeah, no, I at this point with the Jets, it's like, man, the frustration is just like I can't at this point. I think
checked out.
At this point, I think I'm sooner going to see an independent Puerto Rico than I'm going to see the Jets in the Super Bowl. At this point, that's how bleak it looks for me right now.
I'm not familiar with Puerto Rican politics. Is that bleak?
No, because the latest polling showed that about 59% of voters under the age of 35 want to see Puerto Rico as a sovereign nation.
Has that changed though? Like, hasn't it been like that for a while or no?
Hasn't been like that since the 30s.
Okay.
Yeah, like the latest polling shows, like, so when you put the entire population together, the idea of a sovereign Puerto Rico and Puerto Rico as a state are statistically tied right now. About 10 years ago, it was like 61% to 30%.
Wow.
Difference.
Hey, V-Man.
Yeah, you see I'm repping the
How's the campaign trail?
We now go live to our political expert, Vincent.
You want to be a real political party, target areas where you can win. Until then, you're going to be the political clown show that every American and everyone on the left is going to laugh at. So, that's all.
Helping us change the world. Thank you, V-Man.
Yeah, no.
Ready for the Knicks though, huh?
Yeah, I got my Knicks stuff on. I got my I got my Yankees stuff ready. I was bummed. I wanted to, part of me wanted to see a Subway Series, but you know what? Honestly, I'm looking forward to actually watching one of my teams succeed for once. It's been a long time.
So your Knicks, Yankees, Jets. I assume no NHL, no hockey.
I'm Latino. You think we deal with the cold? It's like,
hey man,
I always think of the Robin Williams joke from his special weapons of self-destruction, where it's like why Latinos don't play hockey because the moment you slash at them, they're gonna pull off the ice skate and they're gonna slash you. Like,
so you've never seen a championship? You saw the Yankees in 2009, right?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen a team win a championship. It's been a while.
Yeah, those are my same teams, by the way. I grew up Yankees. Yeah, my Yankees fandom slipped off. I don't know what happened, but Yankees, yeah, Jets, Knicks. It's been a struggle with the Knicks, man. We'll see. Do you like the cat trade? Is the question.
We'll see how it turns out. I'm just looking forward to this. Just looking forward to the season because I'm just looking forward to another good season in Knicks basketball. I'm hoping that they can maybe break through.
Yeah.
V-Man, baby. Thank you for your contributions today, V-Man.
Well, did we even actually talk much football? I can't remember.
Of course we did.
You checked
made a lot of points.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with this game up ahead, I wish I could enjoy it right now, but
I know how you can enjoy it. You come to the watch party on Sunday.
I can't. I'm getting ready for my great aunt services.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, right now I'm busy printing pictures of her for like a little collage that we're gonna put like in a picture for.
Show us what you have so far. Let's honor your great aunt.
Well, it's upstairs, but this is the latest picture I printed up. She was a diehard Yankees fan. Grew up in the '50s. She grew up in the Bronx, like during the golden age of New York City baseball.
Love it, V-Man.
Nice.
Thoughts apprentice to your family, all right?
Thanks. It was her. My great aunt was a Yankees fan. My grandmother was a Dodgers fan. So they used to. I can't imagine what it would have been like at that time period, growing up during the golden age of New York City baseball.
Did she stick with the Dodgers after the move?
Oh no! She became a Mets fan.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, no. She's like, you think my grandmother has the ability to understand how to follow? My grandmother has the ability to understand how to follow a team all the way on the West Coast.
Hey, man, I don't know.
She couldn't even figure out how to use a damn. Like, my grandmother was never going to be able to figure it.
Wait, what was that last part? She couldn't figure out how to use a what?
She couldn't figure out how to use a toaster oven.
Oh, all right.
No. She would. I made this joke ages ago with Jake. My grandmother would make pork chops in the toaster oven, and she would dry them out so bad you could use them for hockey practice.
It always comes back to hockey with you.
No. It's like imagine trying to bite down on that thing.
Hey, man, thank you for the time.
We now go live to our political expert, Vincent.
You're a political clown show. That's what you are. Have you ever seen a Green Party activist knock on your door? I haven't.
Helping us change the world. Thank you, V-Man.
Just incredible. I will say, we're doing the Asmaniac March Madness tournament in March. V-Man needed that call. Just a nice little reminder. Hey, I'm a 1 seed, boys and girls. Look at me.
Yeah, you said if he walked in, he would have got a pop. He kind of is a Vince McMahon creation. I got to admit.
Oh, I've seen it, man. When V-Man walked into one of our watch parties, the crowd went nuts.
Well, V-Man. Always on that hockey bandwagon. I'll make him a Rangers fan one of these days.
Michael writes in, Jake, I hope you took a few psych courses in college to help deal with us all. Maybe I should have. I did not. Oral writes in, sell the team, Woody, and don't drink out the Henny bottle because we signed someone. Fire everyone and hire Mike Verbal. Tank the season. I appreciate the $5. This super chat is silly.
They're
not tanking this season. They're 2-5 with the easiest schedule left in the NFL. I would like to, until they get to like 7 losses, I would like them to win every game. That's how I'm going to root as a fan.
Is that statistically accurate? They have the easiest schedule left remaining?
By DVOA, they do, yes. Well,
wow.
Now, Tua coming back to the Dolphins obviously impacts what they are as a team, but still, like, I'm not looking at the Dolphins as like this unbeatable team the Jets can't beat. Like, no.
Yeah, isn't that insane? Tua misses not half the season, but a good chunk of the season, and the Jets don't play them once. It's pretty insane.
They have the same record as the Dolphins too, don't they?
Dolphins are half game ahead, actually, because they had a bye already.
That's right. Yeah, ridiculous. Also, I love his spelling of Mike Vrabel there. Mike Verbal.
Verbal, Mr. Gerbil. Yeah, it's not accurate totally.
Mike Verbal is how I would expect the Lane Train to pronounce Mike Vrabel's name if the Jets hired him.
Mad Dog Russo. Perfect pronunciation. Oh, the Jets hired Verbal. Yeah, I could see it right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, a reminder, this show is available in podcast form on either Apple or Spotify. So if you want the audio version of the show you're watching live here on YouTube, check out the podcast later today. All right, let's say hello to Rob the Jet fan, as we will mix in a call or two before we say goodbye to Mr. Sabo today. Hello, Rob.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's up, Rob?
Good.
Well, Robby, my vote's for Mike Gerbil.
Gerbil, you got Gerbil too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's good. Only here. You know, a couple of things that I want to say, and then I want to end off with a statement. But to me, it kind of seems like, Robby, you're good with JD. You kind of think that he's going to survive. You kind of like him. And I noticed that you really didn't ever care much about the way Salah did things. Am I correct there, first of all?
I could go either way on JD right now because you can't get the coach wrong. But there's a lot of angles. Woody was overseas. Christopher was like, how much they have been so buttoned up that it's impossible to know how much power JD actually has or used to have or has right now. I could go either way on JD. I know this, and I compartmentalize. I know this. Personnel-wise, I think he's done a fantastic job. Everything else, I'm not sure of. So I can go either way. Salah had some strong suits, but no, I have not been a Salah fan. I've made that clear strategy-wise.
Because nothing's come to fruition. Because the thing with JD, where I push back on Robby, is that he has a talented roster here, but he's also done a lot of boneheaded things. Like last year, him pushing back on the trade deadline and not getting a bona fide backup quarterback and sticking and doubling down and tripling down on Zach Wilson cost them the playoffs. Let's be honest here. That was a really boneheaded thing that he did. Trevor Siemian at the end was 2-1. Someone with at least a pulse. But, he kept on going with these kind of shitheads. And I can't get a little bit beyond that. And then dropping the ball, and I'm not saying it's his fault, completely his fault, but dropping his ball with Reddick and not getting him into camp early. And I know he was acting like a jerk, Reddick. But all these things, and then going after Devontae, and Devontae finally coming now, it almost kind of seems like it's a little late now for all these moves. Now we're staring at 2-5, and to be honest with you, where you are correct, this team should not be 2-5. At the bare bones minimum, we should be 4-3. 4-3, and the coach has hurt us. And I don't think Ulbrich is doing a good job, or I don't think he's going to be here next year. I think it has to be Vrabel.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. And listen, your points are fair. I mean, 100% fair. But I'd push back. I don't think they would have made the playoffs with a backup quarterback. Like, who'd you want? Dobbs? Dobbs played well in Minnesota. Why? Coaching. O'Connell's
it would have got you in. It would have probably got you in.
Rodgers can't even play well under the Salah program. I know,
but last year we won 7 games. Now I'm talking about last year. We won 7 games with Wilson, and like you said, if we had Dobbs or someone else, a Wentz, you don't think that would have been at least another couple more wins? They probably would have went 9-8.
I don't think so.
Well, the defense was better last year. Zerline obviously won them a ton of games last year. He was incredible. So, it was a different team last year, too, to Rob's point.
It's a fair point. But I really genuinely think under this solid program regime, this leadership, the quarterback is capped in a strange way. And
they better uncap it, man, because I expect more from Aaron Rodgers. I do.
And listen, when Zach Wilson's the quarterback last year, I'm telling you, the defense looks so much rosier because the opposition doesn't feel the need to score points. Like, your offense is a joke. Why would we even try to score points? Let's just get enough, try to run the game out and shorten the game. So, listen, it's a fair point. I'm never going to say you're wrong for Douglas not going for a more quality quarterback.
I'm not totally sold on JD. I love the roster that he's assembled. I'm with you guys there. I'm not totally sold on him. I think he's. I can see Gary being a little pissed off and what's going on. Though Gary's left and right. But the thing that I will end off with as a statement, I don't know. I can't take much more of idiots like Bang Mateo, and especially who, Jake, this freaking butthole Allen.
How do you feel about these guys? Do you like them?
Robby, he sends a text, a chat text to Jake yesterday. I'll be on to talk about the November tank. What the freak is wrong with you? It's almost like he loves being right. I can't wait to tell you, you were wrong. You were wrong. Ha, 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 ha. Shut the bleep up. I mean, out of respect to Jake, I'm not cursing because that's what I want to do right now. This guy is a butthole. I'm sick of this Allen. Come on. Jake, really, when you saw that November 10th, let's talk about the November 10th. Hey,
I said this to the hole. I don't want to talk about tanking when there's 10 games left. I'm not doing that right now.
Hey, Jacob, I was right. Let's talk about the November tank. Like, I'm so smart. Shut the bleep up.
Hey, man. Last time tanking was in fashion, they missed out on generational Trevor Lawrence. What a mistake that was.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Come on, guys.
They didn't even do that right.
Come on. But it's not. The point is Lawrence generational? Truly, like it's coaching. It comes down to coaching.
Yeah. No, they lack a coaching, Robbie. They need a good coach. That's the reason why. Don't get me wrong. If they got Ben Johnson, would I be happy with it? I would be happy. I would be very happy with Ben Johnson. That's where idiot Allen is right. But if not, I want someone established. I want a guy like Vrabel. Vrabel brought him to the conference championship game with Tannehill. And I don't even think Tannehill's a real good quarterback. And he got that team disciplined, playing good offense, good defense. And I think Tennessee overachieved with Vrabel, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
he
me too.
People accountable. So you know what? My vote is for Gerbil there. I would definitely take him. I definitely would.
Good call, Rob. I love the passion.
I haven't heard the term butthole be used since fourth grade.
I think butthole is objectively speaking a funny word.
It's hilarious. It's one of the George Carlin's. It's on George Carlin's list for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robby Sabo. What a job.
Yes, sir.
What a spot.
Thank you.
Robbie, plug Jet X Factor, and also, can you share the news for every Nick fan out there?
Oh, yeah, baby. Nick's X Factor is live. I won't be pushing it until right before the game because we got to get a little more content up. But the second X Factor site, Nick's X Factor, is live. Check it out. In the early stages, it's going to be a grind all year, but just like Jet X, it's going to be tremendous. So check it out if you're a Knicks fan. I'll be doing some Knicks stuff tonight during the game, and use discount code 80. Hey, listen, we're Jets first all the time, all the way. Use discount code Asman. I'm sorry, I said 80, but use discount code Asman for a tremendous discount.
99 cents first month. Have you guys hired 13-year-old Connor Long yet to write for your website, for the Knicks website?
Is he a Knicks guy?
I think he actually might be a Net fan.
I gotta find out. But intern Connor Long, he's doing tremendous. By the way, he improves, man. Like he really self-coaches himself. It's impressive. Like he's really trying to do the right. He's trying to grow and be the best in whatever he's trying to do. And he's not even a writer. Like he wants to be a broadcaster. So that's tip of the cap to him.
I love it. Robbie, tremendous job out of you.
Appreciate it, brother. We'll
Ladies
talk
and gentlemen,
soon.
Robby Sabo, co-founder, JetsXFactor.com, JetX mobile app. Download that. You won't regret it. Bang Mateo has responded to Rob from Glenhead. He says, Rob is a hack, all bra, no braids. Bang Mateo then says, Rob, give me a break, dude. I guess Bang Mateo is like watching the show on delay because these comments are just coming in now. Oh, incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy was also mentioned during today's show. We say hello to Gary. He's next. Hey, Gary.
I was waiting for Robbie, and I get stuck with you again. It's all right. I guess you can do. First off, I haven't made a non-boxing bet in probably 5 years. I did this morning. I got plus 370 on the Knicks to win the East. Not the finals. That was plus 900. I laid off that. Or plus 850, something like that. I laid off that. But Knicks to win the East, plus 370. It's the first non-boxing bet I've made in years. I like it. I gave a 50-50 chance. So if I'm getting, them in Boston, coin toss. So if I'm getting plus 370 on a 50-50 bet, it's pretty good odds, right? You're going to take it every time.
You're just making up it's a 50-50 bet in your own mind.
Right. In my mind, it's 50-50.
But you're saying that as if it's factual that the Knicks have a 50% chance to go to the finals.
Okay, so there are 15 teams in the East. In theory, all 15 teams could win in the East, so it's a 1 in 15 shot. to be statistically correct, Jake. I don't think the Nets, I don't think the Pistons, I don't think the Washington Wizards.
I understand your point, but you're like, when you're like, it's a 50-50 bet, like you just made up those odds.
Yeah, because there are 2 teams that can win the East. And
That's your opinion, correct. That's
correct.
Your
Yes, Jake, there are 15 teams. The Washington Wizards and the Brooklyn Nets could win the East.
I know how betting works. Continue.
Okay, you just threw
I'm
me
not
for
playing your reindeer games, man.
There's
I'm
no
not doing
reindeer
this.
game. I take the Knicks. I took the Knicks plus 370 to win the East. I think those are good odds.
All right, I'm happy.
I don't understand what is the problem with that? How's that a reindeer game?
Can you give me a real point?
Okay, first you were right. V-Man's call put him back in the 1 seed. His last couple of calls have been a little weird. That one put him right back in the 1. There's 5 guys with a 1 seed, but only 4 spots. That means one of the top 5 get the 2 seed. Don't want to go through that bracket. Yeah, I want Robby Sabo and a bunch of people in the chat talking about Ben Johnson. To me, it looks like, barring a miracle from the Cowboys, Ben Johnson is going to be the next coach of the Cowboys. It's kind of my guess, kind of my inkling, kind of like the rumors here. They've been on that train since like
over
week 2.
Belichick? Interesting.
What was that?
I said over Bill Belichick. You think they would hire Ben Johnson?
That's the name. I mean, that's the name that keeps getting circulated since like the second week of the season. So to me, that's a better job than the Jets at this point. So I would imagine he would take that. So Pete Castro keeps talking about Flores from Miami, the old Dolphins coach. I don't hate that. I think that's a pretty good option. But I wanted to ask, because I thought Sabo made a great point when he was talking about Ulbrich. Like, this is still solid. Whenever a fighter gets into a new camp, you want him to take a tune-up fight first, right, to get him acclimated to the new camp. This is still solid.
Such a Gary call. Continue.
This is like, but I think Robbie's right. Like, you can't uproot an entire system that Sal's been putting in for 3+ years in a week and a half. Like,
correct.
If you think Ulbrich sucks, what you're saying is solid system sucks, which I think we can all agree on now, right? So this is going to take a while with Ulbrich. And I'm wondering if you bring back Rodgers, if Rodgers and Adams and all those guys are back, do you want to just give it 1 year with Ulbrich to see how it works, or is that out?
I mean, if Ulbrich gets the team to the playoffs, we could talk. But I don't know if they go 7-10 or 8-9. I want a more established coach.
Would we agree that next year is going to be Rodgers' last year? I mean, like, you got to bring in a new system for 1 year and then rip it down again and start all over again.
Not necessarily. What if they drafted a quarterback that sat behind Rodgers for a year?
Okay,
it's the same system.
You
hire an offensive coach. Rodgers works with that guy for a year. He retires, and then the new guy comes in that's ready to go.
Do you it's possible? Do you think it's realistic that they draft a quarterback in the first round that they kind of deem as the franchise guy moving forward?
I do think it's possible, yes.
I can't believe we're in this position, Jake. Draft the quarterback in the first round again.
Well, there's different types of positions. There's drafting a quarterback in the first round because, like, he's eventually going to be your starter right away, like with Zach or Sam. Or it's, we're going to try and do the Chad Pennington thing. We have a starter in place, and that guy's going to sit and learn behind a veteran.
Yeah, I'm trying to win this year. I don't want to pick, a future. I get it. I get it. It's just, it sucks, right? Like, I want to draft a guy that can help us win immediately, right? Not say I'm drafting my quarterback because this is the last year, which it is. I understand. It's just kind of depressing saying, okay, we're going to start this whole thing all over again next year. Like it.
Not if you hit it. Well, I mean, what did you think was going to happen after Aaron Rodgers? You acquired him when he was 39.
I was hoping that the world would we'd win the Super Bowl and that the world the apocalypse would happen and we could just live in forever as Super Bowl champions. That was kind of what I was hoping for. But I had a question for Sabo. Maybe you can field it. I mean, I'm not a guy that fixates over interceptions. I don't make a big deal. It's part of the game. Like, you swing big, you miss big. It's part of life. But Rodgers has always been a very low interception guy. Very low. What's going on this year that all of a sudden he's throwing 2 interceptions a game, it seems? Like, is there something different? Is it like, what's going on that all of a sudden he's throwing a ton of interceptions?
I mean, I think each interception's been different. Some of it's been, you're forcing it. Some of it's been, a guy not running the right route, like what happened with Mike Williams at the end of the Bills game, for example. I mean, It's uncharacteristic of him for sure. I mean, this is a guy that has 7 picks this year. I mean, he's had some years where he's thrown less than 5 in the season. So he threw 12 his last year in Green Bay, and that was high for him. And he's obviously on pace to surpass that. He's got to clean it up, man. I think he's a little gun shy. I don't think he truly trusts his receivers just yet. The one he threw to Garrett Wilson, that wasn't on him though. You know what I mean? Like every interception's different.
But even throw that one out. Throw that away. And I agree. That's 100% on Wilson.
So if we throw out the Wilson one and the Mike Williams one at the end of the Charger game, he only has 5. You know what I mean? Like there's context to it. Like he's got to play better. It's not the interceptions that are causing a problem. I'll show some film on this with Fialco, and Orlovsky's had some good breakdowns on this on ESPN this week. It's like not trusting his eyes, which is something that Zach Wilson did poorly and we killed him for. So Rodgers, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't trust his O-line. He's a little jittery, a little uncomfortable. He's got to get settled in, man. Hopefully, playing this Patriots defense he cooked 4 weeks ago will get him going, because that's really what they need. But like, this was an interception that ended up at the Jet 1-yard line. All right, this is not on Aaron Rodgers,
I showed this exact picture to I thought it was the 2, but I showed this exact picture to my wife and said, what if I were to tell you that this ball ended up in the Steelers' hand on the 2-yard line? And she looked at me like, how is that possible?
It was basically a pick 6. That's basically what it was. It was basically a pick 6.
How? Like, it looks like 6 points for the Jets. Like, that's, and I'm not, Garrett Wilson, I still think is a Pro Bowl level receiver. So I'm not hating on Garrett Wilson, even though I hate on Garrett Wilson all the time. Like, I'm not hating him as a player. He'll fix that, but that was 100% on him, not on Rodgers.
Correct. Also, before I let you go, you said you got the Knicks to go to the finals at plus 350?
370.
You got a bad line. DraftKings plus 400.
I usually use DraftKings too. I use DraftKings. All right.
How? It's not legal in Texas.
What are you, the FBI?
No.
All right.
I guess someone's placing the bet for you.
What, you got a bug on you or something? Don't worry about it, Jake. Yeah. Talk right here. Yeah. No, we got it taken care of, Jake.
All right, Gary.
All right.
You have a good one.
Good. Have a good one, Jake.
Gas station pizza is better than a Big Mac.
What a call from Gary there, man. I work for the FBI now. 80s Jock says, Robby, did you get any info on the fireman anything? 80s Jock, you've annoyed me, so I'm actually glad I didn't see this till after Robby was gone. No, Robby has no info on that. We had firemen on the show. You want info on that? Go listen to my hour-long conversation with him. Oral says, sorry, my bad, Mike Vrabel, simple mistake. It's okay, Oral. Mike Verbal gave us some good content on the show. Jay Meltz with a super chat. Thank you, Jay Meltz. A $10 spot. That deserves a special sound effect. Someone's going to help me pay for Chipotle with that. I see no indication of this team being able to maybe turn this around, and the only chance of Woody bringing in the right people would be via dumb luck. He's clueless and cannot meddle if he wants to win. I think people have it wrong with the meddling stuff. At times, he obviously has. But like Jet fans, you wanted Reddick done. He got it done. You wanted Devontae. He got Devontae. All of you wanted Saleh fired. He fired Saleh. Then you can't have it both ways and say he's meddling. You can't. And this idea that he always meddles, I don't find to be actually very true. Todd Bowles got 4 years. Robert Saleh got 3 years of losing football before this year even started. Joe Douglas is in his 6th year right now. Adam Gase never should have been hired. He somehow got 2 seasons. That's Chris Johnson, not Woody, but still the Johnson brother ownership group. I think this idea that the Jets meddle and they don't let people do their jobs, that's not true. And you know what? Sometimes you need an owner to step in and say enough is enough. That's what Dolan did. And then he hired Leon Rose. Made the right hire. Hired the right coach, Tom Thibodeau. Now the Knicks are a championship contender. So, I think sometimes there needs to be like context explained to certain things owners do. When Woody first bought this team, they went to the playoffs a lot. They didn't have back-to-back losing seasons once from 2000 until 2016. You got to get the right people, man. It's all about the people. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people have been wondering where this guy is. My dad last night even said, has this guy called in? I want to hear from him. I'm worried about him. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time since Sunday's debacle, we say hello to Neil. Hello, Neil.
Jake.
Neil, I'm worried about you.
I've been at the shrink since Sunday. Let me tell you something. Numb. I'm numb. This doesn't affect me anymore like it used to. It's disappointing. I mean, that's the basic word you could just use. It's disappointing. And the things that disappoint me most is the fact that despite what happens, we see the same crew of characters back on the field again. It's Jeff Ulbrich. When he says the rotation, I want to take my fist and put it in his face with the rotation. The rotation better have some people out of the rotation when he puts Reddick in the rotation. And then when he says, I like to rush 4, that's another thing that annoys me also. Why are all the other defensive coordinators blitzing 40% of the time and we don't blitz? Why are other defenses having their best cornerback on the best receiver of the other team? Now, I'm okay when DJ Reed's on one side of the field and Sauce is on the other. And I think Eccles is a good player, but he's not covering the number one receiver on the other team. And why in the end zone, when you have a short play, when Sauce is not going to get beat, and he's 6'4", and Wilson throws that high ball in the end zone, don't you think that at least Sauce would have been able to knock that ball away, being as tall as he is, and Eccles hanging on to his ankles because he's so short? Jake, what do you think of that?
Absolutely.
Let's look at that one play. One play that was a touchdown that very easily could have been batted away, and that was Eccles on 14, which should not have happened. That really is just encapsulates one play. Then you have Sauce on their third best receiver, 19, that's running across the thing. Now, Sauce is so far away from this guy that he bumps into his own own cornerback on the way. He's doing an under route instead of Sauce being under with him step for step. Sauce is trying to catch up from way over here when this guy's running short and he's not there to make a play. And, I know you like Sauce. I hate to be critical of him, but he, I think, is, turning into a little bit of a diva, worried about his golf game and his chains and all the other horse shit. And he's not focused enough on football.
I don't think that's the problem, but I agree with you. I think the fact that Sauce was not on Pickens on the obvious situation at the end of the first half when they were going to throw, and he's their only receiver you truly fear, I think that's bad coaching. Like, if there was ever a game for Sauce to travel, it's the game when DJ Reed and Michael Carter aren't playing.
We're on our third string corners and fourth string in the secondary, yet you have Pickens on Converse and on what's his name? Oliver.
Pickens.
Oliver is playing on him on the one play, right? Ed Oliver's playing well. I'm going to tell you who another one is playing well was that kid 35. He
Mills.
played a really good game.
Jalen Mills did make some plays. Yes.
Jalen Mills, you know why, Jake? He stuck his head in there and he tackled guys.
Yes.
Okay? Well, Ashton Davis, you know why he went out and banged his head? If you look at the play closely, he literally closed his eyes and led with his head and got kicked in the head instead of putting his shoulder into the guy and driving through him on a tackle.
Yes.
That shows you the tackling has been so nonchalant and everybody's grabbing that running back is not going to go down by you grabbing him up top. You got to grab him at the legs. You got to take him down at the legs. And this is the things that really are fundamentally flawed that really comes back to the coach. And I'm disappointed with that, number one. And then I'm disappointed in the fact that, Aaron, who, I don't like to be critical of, but I got to tell you something. The offensive line blocked for him really well. He had time in the pocket. And I noticed with him, like that one play where Tyron was getting pushed into him a little bit, Jake, and he kind of short-armed that ball to the left that fell short. That should have been a complete – that should not disrupt his throw.
They need more from him. I agree.
Banged.
They obviously need to all step up around him. That was the whole premise of bringing him in. Like the Garrett drop is inexcusable, but he also needs to play better. And at times he has played well.
I feel that he's really, and I got to believe, I think he's banged up. I see him pulling on his hamstring in the back a little bit. Look, he's not as mobile as he would like to be right now. I think there's a little issue with him. He's not running sprints up and down the field. I can tell you that right now.
No, for sure. But like, what's weird about Aaron's game on Sunday when you watch some of the stuff that the film experts have broke down, and we'll show this with Fialco later today. There's some guys open, and he's like gun shy to throw it a little bit. He's thinking too much, and like his greatest strength was processing fast and getting the ball out. At times, there's guys open, and he's not hitting them. Like I just think like something's got to click for him. He needs to get his confidence back.
Right. Very. And the other thing is this: Aaron Rodgers does not throw interceptions as a career because he avoids throwing it to the middle of the field, which is where he threw the ball at the triple coverage. That looked like Zach Wilson to me. Didn't look like Aaron Rodgers. All right? So I'm done being critical of Aaron. The play calling was the play calling. I'm going to chalk it up to another shitty loss. I'll say that the defense kind of just mailed it in after they were down 2 scores.
They ran out of bodies too.
They ran, but you can't give up a first down if they're going to run the ball 4 times. It's kind of like pride. You know what I mean, Jake? It's like you got bullied and you just didn't even fight back. There was no fight.
Agree.
Like you said, soft.
Yes.
Soft.
I agree, Neil. But like to me, the bigger problems are the fact that this offense can't score more than 15 points, really. Like, that's unacceptable. It's like we know the defense is not as good this year. It's obvious why. The D-line's not as good. They have unfortunate injuries. They obviously had this Reddick situation that maybe he could give you something now the rest of the way. We'll see. We know what's happened now with the secondary. It's not as good of a unit. They've had a lot of injuries there. They need the offense to step up. They were 32nd in scoring last year. They're not that much better this year with Rodgers at quarterback. It has to get better.
Right. And I'll tell you, man, the defensive line, you cannot have a 4-man rush with the defensive line that we're putting on the field. It's just not even, and that's kind of killing Quentin Williams too, because they could triple team him, for Christ's sake, because they got nobody else that's going to get to the ball. They have,
but he needs to play better too, though, Neil. He's had opportunities to wreck games he hasn't.
He's starting to, it's really starting to feel reminiscent of, what's his name that took the bag a while back? It's starting to feel like him a little bit. I told you a couple of weeks ago, when Quincy said there's got to be some accountability, I think Quentin goes home to a big supper and hangs out with his kid, and he's not focused as he was. I just don't feel like he's into it as much as he should be. And he's supposed to be a captain. He's supposed to be a captain. And again, there's no leadership right now. Who are the leaders? I think C.J. Mosley is pissed off that he's not playing a lot. I think that's kind of like ruined him a little bit with his leadership. And you got Sauce Gardner leading the charge, and he's not playing. Like, guys that lead the charge, like DJ Reed is a leader, is a guy that sticks his nose in. He plays every play. He's hard-nosed. Quincy's a leader, but he's not, he doesn't want to be the leader. You know the guys I'm talking about. Offensively, I just think that Well, I think we're going to be fine offensively. We're going to score points. I don't have any doubt about that going forward.
They better, Neil. They're playing the Patriots. Now, before you go, Tom does make a good point. The Jets have not won a game since you made sweet love to a Patriots jersey. Will you be thrusting the jersey before this game coming up?
Look, Tom Ace, I don't want to hear again. If it's my fault that the Jets win, so be it. I'll take a cross up here and I'll hang myself and crucify myself. But I assure you of one thing. If I do that, it's not going to change the end result of our season for me. Okay? Let's put it this way. If you could say I'm the reason we're not winning, you could say that about 38,000 other subscribers because we're all in the same shit boat together. It's not like anybody else is going to be the reason. But last thing I will say, PFF gives us a 48.5% chance to still make the playoffs. So I'm not giving up yet. I still feel this is a team that if we get in, think about it. The last 4 years, what have we done? We start fast and we finish like shit. This year, I'm expecting the opposite. We're going to start like shit and finish in fire. And then we're going to go right into the playoffs.
There it is.
Who's going to want to play us?
Are you coming Sunday, Neil? The people need you at the watch party. We need the win. We need you there Sunday.
They got to earn it. It's going to be – I know we'll win the game, but what am I going to cheer for?
We need you.
I'm a little depressed. I'm a little – I can't get
It's only Tuesday. By Friday, you'll be there. You'll be like, I'm jumping on the table leading the Jet chance. I know.
Yeah. I listen. I'll be there. I'm going to – I'm excited. Like I said, you're not going to pull the optimism. I don't care if Allen – I don't give a shit how many times he says that I'm stupid for all these negative guys. I'm sincere when I say this. I still believe we'll make the playoffs. I mean, the Chargers lost yesterday to the Cardinals. There's not a team out there. 7 teams. We have to be in the top 7. And with the talent we have and the way we've lost 3 of these 4 games, the football gods are going to look down on us and we're going to win some the way we've been losing some. And if that happens, we'll be right there.
Let's go now.
I think that guy I know, right?
We need this at T Squared on Sunday. Low-key, my favorite part about that video is Nate, parentheses Nate, right next to Neil wearing the Revis jersey. And you can see he's trying to get through, but he's like, oh, God, what's Neil about to do here? I got to wait. Incredible. We got some heavy hitters still on the line. We'll do Nate and then the hamburger, our next 2. Nate, parentheses Nate, riding around NYC. Hello, Nate.
Hey, what's up, Jay? Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you, Nate.
All 32 of his points were great, as always, by Neil. That was actually a Sean Green jersey, not a Revis jersey. You've got to correct me.
Oh, was it? I looked too quick.
To address Gary's first point, or Gary's point about the Knicks, I'm so glad there's all these receipts and that this is on the internet. We had the Mikal Bridges debate about that trade that he obviously thought the Nets won, and I said, you make this trade if you're the Knicks because you now have a shot just like the Celtics to make the finals, and he debated me for an hour. That you're not better than the Celtics. No, do you think it puts you over the edge? I don't think so. The Celtics, 7 out of 10 times, I'm paraphrasing, but he was for an hour, Jake. He was all over. This is a dumb trade because now, you're in the same place and you still can't make the finals because of the Celtics. So today for him to call in and say 50-50, I mean, it took me some digging to get his receipts from the other day on Hassan. That happened in 12 hours. I will do this too on his channel. That was absurd. He debated me for hours. Whatever. Typical Gary takes flip-flopping, and then but he's also never been wrong. So, I like the names that I heard from. Oh, I don't want that turn. I like the names I heard from Sabo about the coaching. I heard Knob say this name, and shout out to Sims. I was listening to his podcast because Mayo called out his team, and you brought this up, and said they were soft. But is coaching not does that not dictate how tough or soft your team is? Like we saw Dan Campbell arrive to the Lions that have been in football hell for 30 years. Brought toughness. His team is tough. They're not soft. You see it with Minnesota's defense. They're no longer tough now that Flores is there. You saw it with the 2009-2010 Jets. with Rex Ryan when he arrived, brought the toughness. I don't know. So I just think he's kind of shitting on himself by saying he's a soft coach, but it also leads me to say that it's probably the battle of two soft coaches, unless we see something from Ulbrich. But yeah, now brought this up. I want Flores as head coach. He's a Brooklyn guy. I love that he would. I hate that we're talking about head coaches already, but I love that he would hold everyone accountable. He's a former Dolphins coach, so I'm with either the former Patriots linebacker or the former Dolphins coach, 100%. And what do you think of this, Jake? What do you think of Dayball after the shit show across town ends? What do you think of Dayball as the OC and Flores as the head coach?
Well, they do have a relationship, so I could actually see that, right? Because they were both on Belichick's staff together. I don't hate it. I think Flores is a pretty good coach. How he handled the Tua situation, that relationship, you'd have to really look into that because if you're going to trust him with another young quarterback after Rodgers. But I don't know. What concerns me about Flores is not his fault. It's just that, like, the Jets are going to hire another ex-Dolphins coach. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think he'd bring a lot of toughness to the team. It would kind of have that. It would have a Rex Ryan vibe around it. I feel like his first press conference, we would all be fired up. It would be the opposite of the other former Dolphins coach and Adam Gase. I think he's like the complete opposite. I mean, he is on the other side of the ball, but he just brings so much energy, and he brings the Rex Ryan defense that worked against Aaron Rodgers, the Hall of Famer. We saw that Denver did it, and then Minnesota did it. He picked off with a linebacker. He confused our Hall of Fame quarterback, and Neil made a good point about. And I texted this to you, but as soon as it happened with the four-man pass rush, we're at our best when we rush four. But yeah, if you have Lawrence Taylor and elite, Quinnen, and we had all these Jermaines and all the guys we had last year, it's okay to rush four then. But when four's not getting home, why are you still so stubborn? It just that was annoying. I was pretty bricked up, and now like I'll need a Viagra to get bricked up after a few of his comments. And it just seems like everything's gonna stay the same. Like I hope it's not true that he's calling Saleh. Go call Rex. I'm not a Rex guy, but like you got to change it up. And this is Ulbrich's chance at a job. I mean, it kind of sucks that Woody Johnson probably cost two head coaches a job opportunity. Like Saleh's gone, and now if this doesn't get figured out with Ulbrich, he went from top head coaching candidate to he's not going to coach at all next year.
Well, he wasn't a top head coaching candidate. He never even has had any interviews. That was only based off of if they won games. He'll be a DC somewhere, though. He'll get another opportunity. Dan Campbell was an interim head coach. He eventually became a head coach, too. So it's not a death sentence for Ulbrich at all. But I will say this, Nate. Your ability to give coherent points while you're driving a bike in New York City is very impressive.
I've been doing this since I was 10 years old. What?
Where are we off to?
Dude, I've been on hold since I was on 218th Street and Broadway. I'm now below all the numbers. I've got a shitload of signs to hang all over the city, and I'm going to 49 Chambers next. Is our next stop on the list, and then we're going to Brooklyn, and then I gotta go to the hospital.
So are you just biking around all day?
Yeah. I mean, I have a giant ass stack of signs in these bags right here that I have like 10 or 12 locations to get to, and it is a beautiful summer day for it. I usually do them like late at night to not deal with this traffic, but
yikes.
Is
this a city bike?
Yeah, so I don't have to deal with that. We do what we got to do. What's that?
Is that your own bike or a city bike?
No, I'm on a city bike because I got to go to the hospital right after this to go visit my pop. So once I finish these drop-offs, I'm going to the hospital, and I like to lock up my own bike. Oh, we got some tight traffic and no bike lane here. That's annoying.
This is electric.
Whoop.
It's like a video game.
Is that my? I know. I was almost going to ask him earlier. I was like, I wonder if Jake can record on his StreamYard. If I needed a little insurance claim, serving as my dash cam.
How much do you spend on city bikes annually? Tom Ace wants to know.
The membership is $400, but I can bill any of this to my company, including the membership. And then it's like the electric ones are 24 cents a minute, or you can do like 45 on like light pedal assist for free, which is what I usually do. And then after 45, it starts charging 24 cents a minute.
Well, Nate, safe riding, man. Great call.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nate, parentheses Nate, on a bike, checking in, doing his thing. Tremendous. Kyle writes, and I love my wife. She's much better than awful New York Jets. Well, I've said it, Kyle. If the Jets were a real relationship, you would never still be with them. It's toxic. It's abusive. You wouldn't deal with this. Neil's been a fan of the Jets for 58 years. Joe B's been rooting for the team since 1965. You wouldn't deal with this. Michael says, practice squad corner shut down Philly last year. Biggest difference is the D-line. From elite to mediocre, Ulbrich is solid 2.0, created distraction, Downing okay. Fair. Downing is the real upgrade, not Ulbrich over Salah. And Salah was going to fire, or not fire, he was going to demote Hackett too. It's just, I think Woody was just sick of Salah. I do. I don't think they really saw eye to eye. I think the fact that Woody didn't actually hire him, it was his brother, played a part. I think Woody was really pissed they lost the London game in front of all his London buddies. Now, I don't think it was necessarily the wrong move. I don't know if it would have mattered. I was okay with it. I thought Salah was in danger if he had lost the Buffalo game, so they did it a week early. I don't know if it's that big of a distraction, though. It could be. Downing, though, that's the real improvement. He's not great, but he's better than what they've had. But the biggest difference with this defense this year is the defensive line and the injuries. They've had more injuries this season already than the last 2 years combined. That's the difference. And look, if they still had Jermaine Johnson with Will McDonald, they wouldn't be a sieve against the run. They wouldn't be, very inefficient at times rushing the quarterback. They wouldn't be. That's a huge blow. But they went into this year with no Reddick, who was supposed to replace Huff. They never replaced JFM, which was a stupid move by Joe Douglas. And then obviously you look at this team and losing Jermaine in week 2 killed him. Michael says, extend Reed, trade Sauce, play Olu, Taylor, and McG. Who's McG? McGregor? I'm not extending Reed over Sauce. That's, to me, moronic. Stupid town worthy, Michael, but I like you, so I won't do it. DJ Reed's going to be 30. You're extending him over a guy who's been first-team All-Pro the last 2 years? Stop it. I'm not telling you Sauce has been All-Pro level this year. He hasn't been. He's still very good. He needs to catch the interceptions that hit him in the hands, though. We know this. Jonathan writes, and I wish Neil was my dad because he doesn't hate failure. That's tough. Dre writes in, I'm buying Nate a GoPro for Christmas. Now that's what this community is all about. I love it. Let's say hello to the Hamburger, who I met in person at the watch party Sunday. What's up, Hamburger?
What's up, Jake? Yo, man, yesterday, I got to tell you, I felt terrible yesterday, the whole day, even throughout the night. I had a headache. It was a tough day yesterday, but man, I'm thankful for the show and all these Jet fans. You guys are all awesome. Everybody with their different takes and different feelings and back and forth. It really makes the loss a little bit easier. I'm going to push back a little bit on the Woody Johnson selling the team. I'm just going to give a different perspective. I'm not advocating for him to be fired right away. I know I said it yesterday. Sell the team, Woody. In emotion, we want everything to change.
Let me make it clear. If it was up to me, if he could sell the team, I'd say sure. I mean, okay. I'm not against that. I'm just saying. I think sometimes we blame ownership for everything. Like Jerry Jones was a great owner until he wasn't. Bob Kraft was the best owner, and now they're losing. Everyone thinks he's the worst. You know what I mean? Like it's all about the people you put in place.
I get that, but we do have a lot of Jet fans too. So in that aspect, we dealt with the Wilpons for so long, and at certain points they were good, and at other points they were absolutely awful. Now that we had that change, we're like instantly, let's change owners. So look what happened with the Mets. Look where we are now.
Steve Cohen did, right? He took over and hired the right people.
The right people. And what really worries me is that if, say, the GOP does win, Christopher Johnson's back. Like, that scares the hell out of me. So, another point, watching yesterday, I watched a little bit of some of the plays, watching it in person, and my focus on on the Mets and Jets at the same time. So it's a little hard to watch every play. But Tyrone Smith, man, I mean, I played 9 years of football back in the day, and I have never seen blocking that bad. And I think he's just old at this point because come like the third quarter, he can't move. He can't get out of his own way. He's like lunging at the guy, falling over himself. It's like this guy can't play anymore. And that's what I really believe. That guy can't play anymore. He's washed. He's done.
It's you're probably right, but it's just I'm still just in disbelief how quickly he lost it.
Like,
this doesn't happen to other teams. I'm convinced this does not happen to other teams. He was a second-team All-Pro last year. Like I understand him maybe not being that as he gets older, but if he was just average, they would be in so much better shape than where they've been at that position the last several years.
Well,
the fact that he's this bad is crazy.
We talk about Revis and how he tailed off halfway through that year.
Yep,
he was done. It just happens, man. Age never loses. And one other thing, my daughter was very, very happy yesterday that you shouted her out in the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, she was so pumped about that. And I just want to shout out my neighbor Elkin that listens every day, and my older son Jamie that listens all the time. So
hey, Elkin, Jamie, thank you both for support of the show. We appreciate it.
So hey, listen, man. I hope we win this weekend. I don't feel like we will. I just don't have that in me yet. Maybe later in the week, I'll find something in me to.
You have them losing to New England. Oh my God, is this going to be a nightmare?
It's so long, dude. So long we've seen this, and my gut is just telling me no. And maybe that's just to save myself from the misery that I've been dealing with. So we were so pumped to start the season, and look at where we are again. It's just, we'll see what happens, man. But enjoy. I'll see you guys later. Great show.
Hamburger, excellent call. Of course, you and whoever is invited to the watch party on Sunday. Great to meet the Hamburger in person. Great dude. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching live right now, this is a nearly 2-hour stream. Please click that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us continue to grow. I want to show a little film here because we were talking about it throughout the show today. This was Dan Orlovsky yesterday on ESPN and his Twitter account breaking down what he is seeing. And Orlovsky obviously played the quarterback spot in the NFL. What he is seeing from Rodgers right now. Watch it up close, and we'll have Fialco on at 4 p.m. today to break it down more.
Well, it seemed last night that Rodgers doesn't throw the ball anywhere but the perimeter with confidence. If it's a one-on-one ball on the outside, he feels good about it and he's going to cut it loose. But right now, the ball over the middle field, there's a lot of hesitation in his game. Okay, number one, the interception right before the half. I very rarely see Aaron Rodgers double clutch and not pull the trigger. If Garrett keeps this ball more vertical, that's going to be a 30-yard game, but that hesitation on what he's looking at or the trust of what he's looking at is there. Now, Garrett Wilson in the slot. RC knows this. They're playing man coverage, Pittsburgh. He's looking right at Garrett. Maybe he's staring at Devontae, but if he looks at that inside slant, the way that Minka plays over the top, Garrett might catch and run for a touchdown there. And then the final one, down in the red zone, up the top of the screen, Devontae's going to run a switch release seam. Play fake. Devontae's wide open. I mean, that's a touchdown with just a little bit of a touch throw. But again, he's like peeking at the perimeter, and it becomes a wasted rep. I think when he throws the one-on-one shoulder or back shoulder fake to the perimeter, he feels really good about it. But right now, specifically last night as well, anything that's over the middle, there's a hesitation in his game of pulling the trigger and kind of throwing guys to a spot.
Probably the most interesting play in the game for me, because if you watch the game and you watch the tape, and we're being honest, the Jets were whooping the Steelers through the first half. Steelers had one play. That was the jump ball to Pickens. And the Jets did kind of whatever they wanted. This play swings it, and this moment swings it for me. I very rarely have seen Rodgers do this and double clutch. Double clutch. And I don't know why he double clutches. The formation's into the boundary, meaning the trips is up top. The safety, Minka Fitzpatrick, is going wide. Now, is he double clutching? Does Garrett bend this too much initially, and that's why he double clutches it? Does he want Garrett to stay more vertical? And so often when you're throwing types of seams like this, the rule is receiver, you stay vertical. I'll bleed you in because you're trying to protect him against backside safeties and whatnot. Why does he double clutch? I very rarely have seen him double clutch like that. And there's definitely, when he goes to throw that ball, some doubt in his mind of what's going on. Because if that ball's thrown here and Garrett stays vertical and he holds him vertical, that's going to be a huge chunk completion. That safety won't come into play. That double clutch, for me, it's very abnormal. Very abnormal. I have not often seen Rodgers do that. Usually it's 1, 2, 3 hitch, a little heavier and more time on that hitch, and he's going to launch that ball down the field, and it's going to be a 35-yard completion. That double clutch is so rare.
I don't know what that is. Mental? Still kind of feeling the effects of coming back from not playing football for a year. He's not like trusting his eyes just yet. I don't know. They need more from Aaron Rodgers. They do. They got to help him. The Garrett Wilson play is inexcusable. The lack of a running game. I mean, he was supposed to have a great running game. That was the whole point. He has Priest and Braylon Allen. They can't run the ball. How does that make sense? But he's also got to play better. I mean, that's the bottom line. He's got to play better. He doesn't need to be MVP Aaron Rodgers, but he has to play better. All right, let's do a couple more calls before we wrap. PBM is up next. What's up, PBM?
The only team in the history of the world that can make Disney bad is the Jets. My pissed off, man. What the fuck is going on? I'm done, dude.
I've been asking that for 15 years.
Dude, I never in my life thought, well, I shouldn't say that, but we've hit rock bottom. We have absolutely hit rock bottom. The Jets don't deserve us, but we're here. I'm not wearing any more Jets stuff. And I have no faith that they're going to make it to 500. I don't think they're going to beat New England. They're going to lose. Guarantee it. They're going to lose. They are going to lose this week. Watch it happen.
Will they ever win another game?
I think they're going to go maybe 4 and, I don't know, was it 4-13 or something?
Yeah.
They got no fight. They got no fight. It's a disgrace. Rodgers is washed. Tyron Smith, washed. Our secondary is depleted. It sucks. Nothing else to say. We suck.
How's vacation going?
Vacation was good until Sunday night. Now I've been miserable for the past couple days. And I come home tomorrow, so.
You're in Disney World?
I am. At the hotel now. My wife is at the pool. I can't even enjoy the pool. I tried to go in. I'm like, fuck this. I don't even want to swim. So I'm in the hotel chilling. It was Magic Kingdom Saturday. We did Animal Kingdom Sunday, which I thought was the best. And then we did Epcot yesterday. And today we're going to City Walk, Universal City Walk. We're leaving in a little bit.
All right. Well, I hope you have a good time, Mike. I mean, I'm worried about you.
You don't have to worry about me. It's the Jets. They ruin everything. I got the double. I got the Mets losing, and then I got the Jets. Sucks.
You a Knicks fan?
Yeah, they play tonight.
They do.
Yep. Hopefully they can get a win. We're actually going to watch that at that there's like a NBC sports thing in the City Walk area. We're going to watch the game there.
All right. Well, I hope you have a good time, Mike. Say hello to your wife for me. And, if you're not going to wear Jet stuff, I hope you will still wear the Charles Gorman, Jake Asman tank that you own.
Yeah. I didn't bring it with me, but yeah, I'm going to wear that whenever. I'm going to enjoy my lunch stuff.
Enjoy it, all right?
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, PBM. Say hello to Mickey Mouse for us, Mike. Michael writes in, Dominguez batting second and in center, then Judge, Soto, G. Michael, I like you. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
You're not batting Dominguez, who's never started a playoff game with this team, second. You're not messing with the order. The order's been good, the top of the lineup. Torres, Soto, Judge. I would hit Stanton cleanup, but if Boone wants lefty-righty, Rizzo 4, Stanton 5. But Stan should be the cleanup hitter. Also, he's got great numbers at Dodger Stadium. Give him as many at-bats as possible. What are you talking about? Dominguez. Stop it. Let's go, Yanks. Speaking of the Yanks, the number one Grinder loves the Yanks. What's up, Grinder?
Go Yankees. That's all I can say. I'm a longtime Jet fan, as you already know. Let me tell you a little story. I did shopping, went shop this morning, and I wore the Jet hat and everything. And they said, go Jets, man. Jets gonna be all right. I don't want to talk about the Jets. Let's talk about the Yankees. I had a Yankee hat. I was supposed to put, but anyway, with the Patriots, plus we supposed to play the Patriots, right? This coming week, right?
They play the Patriots on Sunday. I
don't even have confidence in that.
Yeah,
I don't.
I can't tell any Jet fan to have confidence right now. They've not played well. They could as they proven they could lose to anyone.
I did it live yesterday. It's the same old Jets with a question mark. Like, one night. Would you expect us to keep on supporting you, and we keep on getting these L's? I'm tired of taking L's throughout the decades. Tired. When you're going to have some heart and fight for us, the ones support you. We ain't talking about the casual fan. We talking about the everyday fan that ride with you, Jets. You're effing up, man. Because y'all might lose me. So I'm going for, Yankees, man. That's it. That's all I'm saying. The Knicks, that's it.
Grinder, God bless. Hang in there, all right?
All right, thank you. Have a blessed one, y'all.
Let's go, Yanks. That's a bad football team. That is poorly coached.
It's a sad life being a Jets fan, man.
I'm just destroyed with this team.
I hate them. I hate them.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Death, taxes, and the Jets just stabbing a stake in our hearts.
We have all this talent and can't do anything with it.
I've got no words. It was brutal.
25.
I don't even know what to say.
I don't know how much more I could take for this.
They are doing irreparable damage to this fan base. And we're back. Nice job, Gator. Little Jet fan in hell montage there from Sunday's debacle. One last call, then we wrap our first show of the day. We're back with the film review with Fialco at 4. It'll be much more than just a film review. We'll talk about the state of the team with Andrew as well. Jerome is next, and he wraps us up today. What's up, Jerome?
What's going on, Jake, man? What's going on, man? I'm just as disappointed as you guys are. I didn't see this coming. But here's one of my silver linings. You guys got to understand that the team as a whole, the Jets, y'all going through a different dynamic. You got people that's banged up. You got people that's out. Key people that should have been playing that could have made a difference. I said when I came, I adopted you guys as my AFC team, and I'm going to ride this thing till the wheels falls off with you guys. I'm still here with y'all, and until y'all get to 7 losses, I'm going to hold out hope. Real talk. And the thing with I told you the team can't really overcome undisciplined and people not being on their spot and executing and whatnot. Rodgers, I think he's hurt. But I also know that in Green Bay, this last year in Green Bay, when he threw all those interceptions uncharacteristically, a lot of that was due to him being banged up. A lot of that was due to not being protected, not trusting his O-line and those receivers. It's the same thing happening now. He's not in sync. And you guys get the best version of Rodgers when he has confidence in those receivers and that O-line protecting him. I'm riding with y'all till the wheels fall off, man. I love this Jet fan base. Remind me of my Packer fan base. And, you guys are passionate. And I guess I'm really feeling hard for you guys now because now I'm kind of knowing what it is like to be a Jet fan. But I'm riding with you guys till the wheels fall off, man. And until y'all get to 7, the schedule is favorable. Other teams losing, and so y'all still kind of in there. Until they get to 7, I'm gonna hold off hope. That's pretty much it, man. You guys, you got to do some soul searching and get that discipline stuff right, and then I think things can turn around.
Hey, I hope so, Jerome. Great call. Your team was 2-5 last year. You made the playoffs. Jets trying to do the same thing. Their schedule sets them up to be able to do it, but they've shown no ability to actually win games. Doesn't matter who they're playing. The first step is just get a win on Sunday. Not that we're going to celebrate that win like they're back. Here comes the Super Bowl run, but stop the bleeding, right? We'll use a boxing analogy for Gary. Win the round, get back in the fight, stabilize things. Then play a quick game a couple days later against Houston at home. And then use the 10 days for Ulbrich to take a breath and kind of reset and get this team ready to win the next 2 before the bye. Indy or Arizona, then Indy. And can you get the 6-5 at the bye week and then kind of reset again? Get healthy for the stretch run? Can you go 3-1 in that stretch? Obviously it's unlikely based on what we've seen so far, but it was probably unlikely when these other 2-5 teams the last 4 years have all made the playoffs. So that's how you got to look at it. It's not over yet. Doesn't feel like it's happening. I wouldn't bet on it. But, I talk about this team every day. I don't want to talk about the draft yet in October. I can't do it. It just sucks. But if they lose Sunday, we're going down together, baby. RSVP to the watch party. Come join us, man. Let's have some fun. Hey, I want to thank the audience. We'll be back later today, 4 p.m. Eastern. Now, I also want to say this. If you're on the fence about coming to one of our watch parties, watch the highlights from Sunday, and you tell me if you could have a good time. Join us then. I'll talk to you guys soon. JETS, Jets, and let's go Knicks tonight, baby. Come on now.
The official, in case the timeout was needed, it wasn't because Hall's taken off to the end zone, in for the touchdown. He will get the pressure. Rodgers knows where to go with it. Breece Hall on the run. Hall into the secondary. Past the tackler at the 20. Breece Hall inside the 10. Challenge. He dropped the flag before he could throw it, so Rodgers instead runs the play, and it's a touchdown to Conklin.
Let's not drop the challenge flag.